Hi everybody, this is John. Today I'm going to show you how to change the oil on a Volkswagen Golf Cabrio. The tools you're going to want to do this job: 19mm wrench, an oil filter removal wrench, new oil filter. This one is a Fram Extra Guard PH2H70A. Want some new oil? This is just conventional regular motor oil, 10W40. You're going to want some newspapers. You're going to want an oil drain pan. You're going to want a new brass washer to go on the oil drain bolt. You want to raise the car in the air by using jack stands or ramps, something like that. You want to get your oil drain pan and you want to lay it under the oil pan of the car. Lay some paper down so any splash won't get on the floor. We're now under the car and the oil drain pan is in position, and this is the oil drain bolt. Put the wrench on it and remember that left, turn it left for loose. That is counterclockwise. And that's loose. And now we can just undo that. It should drain. There you go. And we let that drain for a little bit. And the next thing is the oil filter is right there. We got to get at that. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff in the way. Oil's going to drip down all over that stuff, so we got to make sure we don't get it full of oil. It's almost finished draining now. What I do then for the oil filter, I wrap the area with newspaper so any oil that drips down when I remove the filter won't get on the actual car itself. So what we need to do now is temporarily reinsert this oil drain bolt so that will stop dripping, so we can move the oil pan underneath the oil filter. So we come under here now and we need to remove that guy. So get your oil filter wrench on the oil filter and remove it. It's left for counterclockwise, left for loose. And the guy's starting to loosen up here now. Get the rest of the hand. Get the drain pan underneath the oil filter. The oil is hot. It's going all over the place. It's good to have rubber gloves on like this because you want your engine really good and hot before you change the oil. And that hot oil might be 180 degrees Fahrenheit. It's pretty hot on your hands. Just let that guy sit like that. Now, that's what you've got up there. You want to clean all that off now. Make it nice and clean, and we can remove the newspaper. Now you want to take your new oil filter and you want to put some oil in it. Probably fill it maybe 3/4 way full on this car because it is going to be mounted upside down. So take the filter and just pour some oil into the center. You may want to pour in a couple of cups. Maybe almost full. Just before you put the oil filter on the car, you want to take a little dab of oil and rub it on the seal on the oil filter. The oil filter goes in there. Obviously, it goes up into place and just screwed in clockwise. Screw it in until it just you can feel it just start to touch the surface right there. See that? Now we need to continue to turn it one more full spin, one whole spin from this position. What I like to do now is take some liquid paper and just put a little mark on the body so I know when I get back to the market again, then I've done one full turn. So of course you can turn it. It's going to take quite a bit of force actually to just get that one full turn. As you can see, we're almost back. After using a dry rag, looks like I got about 3/4 on, and that's about typical for this filter. If you can get around 3/4 to one whole turn, that's pretty good. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this copper washer. We're going to take a new one and we're going to replace it. It's not 100% necessary, but it is good to tighten the drain bolt with a torque wrench, because that ensures that you don't strip the threads or do any damage to the oil pan, and that you can easily get it off next time. If you do have one, set it to 22 pound-feet of torque. Okay, you might want to give this a final wipe off. You screw this oil drain bolt back in. Okay, now we torque it in with the wrench. Okay. That's it. It's torqued. So this engine takes around 4 quarts of oil. And what we're going to do is pour in 4 quarts of oil now. To do a several piece out like this and put that over like that, just in case we waste any oil. Hopefully the paper may catch it. Okay, pour in until this bottle says there's 1 quart left in it. One good way to tell if you've got a valve cover gasket leak, after you pour oil in like this, it will overflow at the sides of the gasket, and feel around the back and the sides of the engine. If you can feel oil leaking through, or when you start up the car you get a stink of oil, that's because the gasket leaks. Oil's leaked out through and it's on the side of the engine now. Remove all this. After you wait a few minutes, you want to check the dipstick oil level. As you can see, it's about somewhere in the middle right now. So we could add a little bit more, maybe go for a drive, come back, and top it up. In case you're interested, this is something that I did. Helps me a lot. I took a drilled a hole in the dipstick. Sometimes when the oil is clean, it's hard to tell how much oil you've got in there. But with the hole, you can tell if the oil will fill over the hole. And you can tell if the oil, you can't see through the hole, that means that there's oil at the center of the dipstick. It's a pretty neat trick. I found it useful. So we're done. A couple other things you could do. Check your air filter, make sure it's not dirty. Replace it if you've got a spare one. Fill up your windshield wash. You can look at your belts to see if they look cracked, anything like that. Also a good idea to check your antifreeze level to make sure that it's not low. Don't remove any radiator stopper or any sealed reservoir that if the engine's hot, because you could get burned. It is under pressure. One of the other things I could think of, while the car is in the air, you could go up and under and look at your CV joint boots to make sure they're not cracked. If they are, you'll see grease squirted all over the insides of the car everywhere. Take a look at your tires to make sure that they're not getting bald or worn out or whatever. There should be little rubber bars across the treads. If the tire tread is worn down to the bar, it means they're worn out. You could also look up and under the bottom of the car and the engine, see if there's any oil stains anywhere. If there's a lot, then you could have a leaky gasket, something like that. Also look for any crusty antifreeze up and under, like on your hoses or any places like that, on any of the water pump, mechanical parts. If you've got crusty coolant color type stuff, you may have a leaky hose that needs to be replaced. Thanks for watching.